What's up guys, Dylan here from Veteran Aquatics, and today we're going to talk about how to use an API master test kit. You use these to test your water. It'll tell you what your parameters are and let you know if you have a problem as far as your water quality or your water chemistry goes. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and I'll see you in a minute. So let's talk about the master test kit. This is something that you can easily get shipped to you on Amazon. They run between $25 and $16 is the cheapest I've seen them brand new. This is a freshwater master test kit. They do make a saltwater master test kit for those of you that have a reef tank or a saltwater tank. So let's go ahead and open it. Alright, so you have the instruction booklet right here. It tells you what you need to do with every different solution and how to get the information that you need from it. It comes with 4 of these little test vials. In my experience, they break pretty easy, but they can be replaced, so don't worry. If you break them, you can get a new one. So this master test kit tests pH, ammonia, nitrates, and nitrites. Alright, so we're going to pull everything out. So here's your nitrate. Here's your ammonia. You have your pH and high range pH solutions. And you have your nitrite solution. Now, instead of dipping each one of these vials into your tank separately, what I would probably do is get like a glass or a bowl of water. That way you can easily fill it up and just test from that instead of continuously dipping them into your tank. Because let's say you pour some of these chemicals in this, dump it out, and dip this back into your tank, you may run the risk of accidentally dumping some of that solution into the tank, which can be toxic to your fish, so try to avoid that the best you can. Now on the back of the booklet, you'll see that it's got the levels. So this is how you get your reading. It comes out as a color depending on what you were testing. You would then compare the color to the back of this booklet, and it would give you a general sense of where your water chemistry was sitting. Right? Now it's not always going to be exact. Sometimes it'll, maybe it looks between 6.6 and 6.8. That's fine because that's close enough. Being within 0.2 of a pH range that you want to be in is good enough. Right, and same thing goes with the ammonia, nitrates, and nitrites. So what I've done is grabbed a glass of my tap water. So I know generally what my tap water sits at. So this isn't that big of a deal, but it is an example. You'll see the fill line there under the API logo. So try to get it about there. It's about 5 milliliters of water. It doesn't have to be exact, but you don't want to dilute the solution too much. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to test the pH. And you can see right there on the bottle, it says 3 drops. So we're going to add 3 drops of the pH solution to our little vial here. 2, 3. Now be careful because it does come out pretty fast. Then we're going to cap it with the little plastic cap that it comes with. Then we're going to give it a little shake. And we're going to let that sit for a minute. And you can see it's starting to change colors. Alright, so if we're now comparing this to the chart on the left, it looks like my pH sits somewhere around 6.6. It's probably about 6.7. This is actually going through the faucet instead of the hose, which comes directly out of the well. So the water coming directly out of my kitchen sink sits about probably 6.7. The water that comes out of the hose, that is what I use to fill up my fish tanks, sits at about 7.4. Alright, so now we've got our pH done. We know what that is. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to test ammonia. So again, try to get it just about to the fill line. We want to keep it as close to the fill line as possible. We do not want to dilute the solution too much, nor do we want the solution to be too concentrated. about perfect. Alright. Alright, next we're going to test with ammonia. Now, you need both bottles of ammonia solution in order to test your ammonia levels. If you use one bottle or the other, you're not going to get any kind of reading at all. So this is bottle number 1, and we're going to put 8 drops in the vial. Right, that's 8. And then bottle number 2, we're going to also add 8 drops. So we've got our 8 drops. Now we're going to put the cap on, shake it up, and we're going to let that sit for a minute. Now, ideally, since it's coming out of my tap, it should have no ammonia in it. This is the water we drink. It does go through a water purifier and softener. There should be no ammonia. Alright. So that's done. So you can see, comparing it to the little chart here, it looks like we're between 0 and 0.25. So that's good. There's little, if any, ammonia in here. And I say between because, again, the colors won't always match up exactly. So we're going to just do a range with this test. Next, we have our nitrates. So we are again going to fill our test vial as close to the fill line as we can. It's pretty close. Alright, so again with the nitrates, just like the ammonia, we need to add drops from both bottles. So there's a bottle 1 and a bottle 2. So bottle 2, we're going to add 10. Alright, that was 10 drops. Bottle number 1, we are also going to add 10. Cap it off and give it a shake. So these are nitrates. Nitrates should be 0. I hope nothing is dead in my well. And sure enough, almost instantly, it comes up yellow, which shows me that there are no nitrates in my tap water. And last, we have nitrites. So you'll notice a lot of times if you post in any of the Facebook groups or anything like that, people will ask you what your water levels are. This is what they want to see. This is what they want you to show them in order to show proof that your water quality and chemistry is acceptable for the fish that you're having an issue with. So for the nitrite solution, it's going to be 5 drops. And cap. Give it a little shake. And again, this should be 0. This is my tap water. Alright, and we can see here's the nitrite solution chart. A good old 0. So we've tested our ammonia, our pH, our nitrites, and our nitrates. This, again, can be closer to a range than an actual exact number, but it gets you very close to an idea as to what your water looks like and the quality of water that your fish are living in. Now, just a quick note, because I didn't test for it because I figured the pH wouldn't be high enough to need it. There is a high range pH test, so if your pH is greater than neutral, which is a pH of 7, there is another solution that you can use to test for a higher pH. Now that you've seen how to basically use the kit, we're going to go ahead and test the water out of one of my fish tanks, and we're going to see how it differs from how it comes out of my tap. So we're going to be testing the water out of my flower horns tank. What I did is I went and I rinsed out all the vials real good. We don't want any solution or any leftover water in there. So again, we will fill this up to the fill line, or as close as we can get it. About perfect right there. So the first thing that I want to test in this tank is pH. So first we're going to use our low range pH solution, so it's 3 drops. 3. Then we will cap and give it a good shake. And then we'll just let that sit there for a minute. The next thing we're going to test for is ammonia. Bottle number 1, so 8 drops. Bottle number 2, another 8 drops. So 8. And cap and shake, and we'll let that sit there for a minute as well. So the readings do come up pretty fast. I just like to give them a minute. The longer you let it sit, the more accurate it'll be. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for the solution to take effect. And we are going to do nitrites. No, we're going to do nitrates now. So bottle 1, 10 drops. That's 10. And bottle 2, another 10 drops. And we'll cap and give it a good shake. Last, we are going to do our nitrites. And cap and shake. All right, so let's go ahead and get this clean. Now, you don't have to have a test kit. You can also get test strips, and they work fairly well, but you're going to get a much broader spectrum, I guess, with the test strips. They're not as exact as this is. Right. So we'll put all that back, and now we'll go ahead and we will read and see what our water comes out to. All right. So I've gone ahead and I've laid everything out, and now we're going to do the readings. So for the pH, we're looking like we're at about 6.8 for this one. All right, so 6.8 is not too bad for American cichlids, discus, angelfish, things like that. Next we have our ammonia. We are at 0.25 parts per million. So that's not too bad. He probably needs a water change. He shouldn't have ammonia in his tank. But it has been a little while since I've done a water change. Next we have nitrites, so we're blue, so we're at a 0. And then we have nitrates. Now as nitrates are actually pretty high, we're probably looking at about 30 parts per million, because it's not quite red, it's not quite the light orange. So again, it's probably time for a water change in the flower horns tank. But this is how you would test the quality of your water, and this is how you would see if it was something wrong with your actual water quality, or if it was something else, a sickness, or if you're looking for the cause of a sickness. A lot of times it's the quality of the water. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it informative if you were looking for information on how to use the API Master Test Kit and how to test your water and really see what's causing whatever problem you have in your tank. And oftentimes it'll be a fish's slime coats peeling, you'll have fin rot, maybe they're not eating, maybe you're trying to keep a particular kind of fish and they just keep dying. And testing your water parameters is a really easy way to rule out a lot of things and narrow down what the actual problem is. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. I'm going to go do a water change. I will see you next time.